How are you doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode. This is MENTAL.KE podcast and my name is Marvin Davis. We are here with our very good friend. Mtangoja kidogo tu. I want to introduce him, but before that, nataka tujue, where are we heading as a country? I'm so saddened because we are quite silent on this issue, but I think we need to talk about it, because I was just looking at a statistic and government publications. We've been told that there are laws that deal with issues to do with ending gender-based violence. But this has been there ever since 2011. We are still talking about this issue. We are having conversations here and there. Mtu anaenda kwa kamera, kwa TV mahali. They talk about it, but hakuna kitu inafanyika. We really need to talk about this. The issue of end femicide is not just a discussion we should be having on the internet. Tuna drive a campaign and then after that we are silent about it. Because people are being killed, watu wanauawa. Hata juzi, it was jana yesterday. A woman was a victim of this. And yet we are here talking about end femicide. We really need to have this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode. This is MENTAL.KE. Let me introduce my guest today, because me na niko na motto that I need us to talk about. Karibu sana.
Thank you. Juguna Ayub. I'm a student here at Egerton University.
Okay.
And I believe femicide is not part of what we should have as a country. And at a personal level, I have tried to raise these issues by writing maybe opinions in Daily Nation, The Star, writing social media posts, and even in my art and my books, I try and raise these issues and tell people, okay, as men and women, we have to live together. We need each other, and nobody deserves to die.
Okay, I want to hear your opinion, because me hata nikianza sijui nianzie wapi, because tutaambia watu it's not a mistake. You're watching us, but it's not your mistake. I just want us to have a conversation that it will drive some action to be in place. Because like I was telling you, I've introduced that. Kuna publications, there are laws that are working towards ending this issue, but there have been laws ni vitu zimekuwa for a long time. Why are we talking about having these laws, having these publications, yet there's nothing being done? Because if there's a law, inafaa ku deter some type of behavior from occurring. Because these laws ziliwekwa hapo because this issue was there. Why are these laws still there when we are still having these issues? What do you think we should do in that regard? So I just want us to have that conversation, to see opinion yako, because I know you're a very vocal person and I know what you're doing can be some of the good things that we use to end this issue. Let me hear your thoughts first of all.
Okay.
You can continue.
Okay. Marvin, it is not everything that you can solve by bringing laws. And I'll tell you, there is issues that you need to focus on changing the perception of the mindset. For us to say that we can end femicide by law, of course, the law will contribute, because once we have harsh penalties and punishment for people who are engaging in femicide, it will act as a deterrence from someone else from doing it. But most of the time, it will happen when I'm taking the punishment, the person have already died. So are we serving the purpose?
Accomplished.
Okay, have we serving the purpose? Okay, in a way, the law acts as a deterrence, because once I hear you killed someone and this happened to you, of course, I will fear doing it. But I don't believe Kenyans do mistakes or go against the law because they don't know the law exists. They do with full knowledge that we have this law and I will be liable for this punishment if I do this. So we can say, to an extent, law is not the solution, but the solution is trying to change the mindset of our people, trying to talk to our people and change their perception about things. Where do we have to see as if a woman is a dog or a cow that you can just kill and walk free with it? Changing the mindset and the perception of our people would really help, because if I really value you, I don't think I can kill you.
True. Now, let me ask, because the discussion we were having at the background before we started this was quite intriguing. I think even the point to answer now, we see how we prepare this discussion. You've said something to do with allowing women to be on the social setup, like you would respect and champion women empowerment to a certain extent.
Yeah, sure.
Talk to us about that.
Okay. Marvin, I'll tell you this. Okay, we are in a university setting.
True.
What if today we agree so that we can have everybody feeling like this, they belong to this university and we are equal, nobody is being discriminated, and we agree we are going to have soldiers at times giving us lectures, then we are going to have the cooks in the mess being soldiers so that they will not feel biased, then you have lecturers at times also taking the roles of as soldiers, you know. Which kind of a university would we have?
It will be a mess.
That is what the society, in their wisdom, had designed us for. So that as a man, I will know I should provide for my family. Okay. As a woman, I know I should do this in my family. We should not complicate the empowerment and the dynamics that are happening in the corporate world, in the political world, in the economic world, to try and blend them to the social setup of a family. Because we are going to bring a mess. We are going to, because, okay, what if someone finds that my house is not well kept? They should ask my wife, not me. But what if they find that we don't have anything to eat in that house? Now that is my role. So that having defined roles, even anywhere and in each and every organization, we have specialization of labor, and we have every post with specific roles, so that we are going to have accountability. So we should not bring that confusion into our families, having, everyone can do this, can do that. Let us have empowerment. Women can be presidents, they can be CEOs, they can be bosses. But when we come to the family, let us have that a social tradition of family upheld. Because it doesn't mean that the woman is weaker than the man when we are in the family. They are just different. And let us not have that mentality like the woman is a subordinate and the man is a boss in the family. No, they are two equal different entities with two different roles.
True. But let me bring it back. Talking about this issue of empowerment, there's an issue that has been introduced, and it's like a competition among the genders. When you talk about empowerment, to some extent we feel like the boy child, because you see now we're talking about women empowerment. To an extent that there's an isolation of this gender. And if you look at the statistics, I'm trying to correlate. I'm not saying this is the issue, but I'm trying to correlate. If you look at some of the causes of femicide, there's intimate partners that are involved. If you look at the statistics, and most of the issues, some of them, I don't know whether I'm wrong, but most of the issues correlate with this issue of empowerment. Because a man in that particular setup, they feel like they've been isolated. This woman is too empowered, and so they end up doing this act as a result of, trying to speak out for themselves. Do you feel like the boy child has been in a position, has been placed in a situation whereby they can't talk out their ideas, so what they resort to is violence? I honestly feel that is what is gonna bring up the society. But let me hear your opinion on that.
One, men traditionally, there is that tendency of responding to everything through violence. And maybe that was the tradition or definition of manhood. And when you did that, by then, or in our old days, you would be felt, okay, he's a man. But I feel the dynamics and how things are changing, men should get a different way of addressing their issues. Violence is not a solution. And I feel when now you happen to keep beating your wife or something of the sort, instead of telling us you are a man, we now see as if you are a weak man in nowadays. Because I believe you should have enough intelligence to know how to sort out that issue. On the issue of empowerment, to a larger extent, I agree. Women empowerment is a contributor to the femicide. But should we stop women empowerment? That would be a reverse gear. We should now work on informing the man that the empowered woman is not a threat to your man. Having your wife working or having the same job group with you is not a problem.
Let me hear. Would you go for a woman that is empowered?
Okay, of course.
As a wife for you, because I know
that is my dream.
You're doing a postgraduate, say.
Yes.
And after that, life you go that direction.
Yes.
What are you focusing on?
Okay. If I'm a professor and I happen to marry a professor, I don't feel it is anything wrong. Actually, I wouldn't wish to have someone who we have a very big intellectual gap, so that we are not going to have those unnecessary problems. But having that empowered woman without the early or enough preparation to the man that she's going to, we will have chaos. Because when you have fear, you have to resolve the fear always. And we can work to avoid this fear. Men living with the fear, my manhood is going. But
you said something that is very critical. Why do men feel like the manhood is being threatened? Because talking about empowerment is like we're just trying to bring these people on an level ground.
Yeah.
And one issue that I have with this whole issue is this idea that people introduced to it, that it looks like a competition. Because if you talk about women empowerment, then men now try to defend themselves. If you talk about men empowerment, women will now try to defend themselves. You see? So why are we introducing a competition in this issue? Because you see, there was a time I was having a discussion with a group of my class members, and we talked about the issue to do with femicide. If you look at the statistic of this issue as the year began, I think this is the year we've had a lot of these cases.
Yeah, sure.
People have been killed, women especially, and we were looking at the statistics, and we had this discussion, and it came out as if people were competing. Because the other gender now resorted to, we are women, and this is something that is affecting us, and you guys are killing us. So you should take action for whatever you people are doing. I don't know why people tend to compete when it comes to some of these issues. In as much as you're talking about, okay, we know we need how to prepare the boy child on how to live with this empowered woman, but I don't think it's something that is easy, honestly speaking.
Of course.
In as much as we are talking about, okay, we are going to live, let me use your case, you're marrying a professor. The professor anajua kitu anataka, wewe pia unajua kitu unataka. You might be on the same level ground in terms of intellectual capacity, but there are issues that don't need to be solved with intellectual capacities. If you look at the family dynamics, atuongeleangi tu vitu za, we need to sit down. Ideally, when you're going to marry, si utarudi kwenu, you'll be told this is the ideal type of woman that we want you to bring, so that we also approve. Kuna wazee nyumbani, they approve and they tell you this is the woman that at least side that family to come up well. So hii idea yote ya it's a competition or at woke generation about, I want to raise a woman that is empowered, or maybe my daughter should be empowered, so that mwanaume amwambii kitu, that is where we are going wrong. Ama, what do you think about that?
Okay. This thing, okay, the initiators of feminism did not intend to have a competition, and did not even intend to overthrow men.
Okay.
What we are looking for is that space, so that they could also, okay, they are not discriminated. So that if I'm a man and I'm going up to PhD, why should I not do as a woman? That is what they were looking for. But I feel in the 21st century, and I want to contextualize specifically in Kenya, feminism now have been distorted to something very different. It is them now, it is like now a motion of impeachment to men. Like, we now want to be men. We now want to be men. I feel that is where we are going wrong. But having women getting that space is absolutely right. Having your daughter go to school when your son is doing so, it is absolutely right. But when they want to feel, okay, now you should overthrow men and now be women, okay, I had people bringing the 2/3 gender rule. When we have a male president, we should have a female president, and the vice versa, and all that rubbish. No, that is where we are going wrong. Once you are empowered and you are a woman, you are intellectually capable. No, let us all strive to have intelligence and competence as our finishing line. So that nobody will be gauging Juguna as a man, but will be gauging me like, okay, we are applying to be the VC of Egerton University. You not say we want a male VC or a female VC. We want a competent VC who is competent regardless of your gender. But now when we keep majoring on this gender issue, I think we are bringing unnecessary issues, stories all through.
Strong point that one is. On the same line, if you look at some of the causes of violence against women and gender-based violence, there's this issue to do with dressing. I want to hear your thoughts on that, because there's too much control on what women wear in society, in as much as we're also doing women empowerment. Are you comfortable with that notion?
Okay. I want to tell you, Marvin, you are always addressed how you are dressed. And how you dress is part of your social identity. Like the perception that you create on people. Even how people greet you when they don't know you depends on how you are dressed. You cannot find someone dressed on a suit and you tell them, oh yeah. Why? Because there is that perception that you create with your dressing. Social constructions of identity are societal. So when you dress in a certain way as a lady, there is no way as a men will have a certain perception and they will relate your dressing to a certain identity or to a certain in a certain way. So as a lady, you should decide what do I want to portray to the society.
Okay.
If you take a dressing that portrays that, for example, if I'm a Manchester United fan, then I walk in with a Chelsea jersey. There is no way I will convince you I'm a Manchester United fan.
Yes.
It is just but a mere example. So, as a lady, or even as a gent, who do you want to communicate with your dressing? Then choose your dressing wisely. So you cannot choose you cannot choose dress code A and you argue that you wanted to communicate a certain social construct B. They must always correlate.
Nice.
Yes.
And speaking of which, I don't know whether they are comfortable, because have you interacted with a woman in that context? And what explanation have they tried to give you in that regard? Because they always have arguments.
Okay.
There's this idea that you should not judge me by how I dress. The my dress, my choice thing. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, I have had. Okay, my dress, my choice. But Marvin, you don't wear clothes because of yourself. That's why you can even sleep naked because nobody is seeing you. You dress because of others. If you are living in this world alone, you would be living naked, more likely than not. But now you wear these clothes. you wear these clothes because you live with us. So whether it is your choice, just know that you don't dress because of yourself. You dress because of the society.
True.
And having that argument, we should not judge you with how you dress. Everything that you do
it for others.
Is always judged. Even how you shave your beard, how you shave your hair. Okay? Everything that you do, your dress code, as simple as even your phone schizotine. You know, you cannot find a Muslim with our Father who is in heaven as schizotine. So once I call you and I hear you as schizotine saying our Father who is in heaven, there is high likelihood you are a Christian. Everything that you do as a society, and don't judge me. Judging is unconscious. Once you see me with the cancel there, it always comes automatically. So we will always judge you. It is unconscious, and everybody will always judge you. Just to know everything that you do, including the greetings that you give to a person, will make you get judged.
Okay. Yeah. Let me now draw away from that context. I want to talk about an issue that emerged because of that question. And this issue of toxic masculinity on men. First of all, let me ask you, this whole idea, do you think it serves any purpose in the current society?
The idea of
toxicity and that toxic masculinity on men.
Okay. I don't know. I don't like using the word toxic masculinity because I don't know where masculinity stops being masculine and now it becomes toxic. But as a man, it is good to show your manhood. Okay. But what is the reason of showing your manhood? Okay? It is showing that you are a man. You don't have to go an extent of slapping your woman because now you are a criminal. You are a lunatic. There is a man who says when you win too much, you lose. So just to know up to which extent you should win. Because once you overwin, you lose. Yeah, so as a man, just to know the limit into which you should show your masculinity.
Let me go to the opposite side.
Yes.
If it is for men, it is masculinity. Yes. If it is for women, it is femininity.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Femininity is more or less about gender roles and how, the societal expectation of you as a woman. But you don't live with the society in your house. So, and I'll tell you, each and every family things are different. There is a family where the man cooks and they are comfortable. There is a family where the man will wash the clothes and they are comfortable. There is a family where the man cannot wash, So just to know your family, who you are living with, and just leverage. You don't have, we don't have to have a one shoe fit all to everybody. Okay. Yeah, just to know, this is my family, this is how I want my family to be, so this is how I should behave. Because even if feminists will keep telling you don't wash clothes, don't do this, do not marry you. And if you really need a husband, just sit with your husband just to know what should we do, what should we not do. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of which, maybe just to bring it on board, these two ideas and concepts, the thing that I honestly feel there's a confusion that arises because people tend to confuse. We've talked about femininity to be all about gender roles.
Yeah.
Right now, we have women empowerment in the sense that some of these women get into the men's field. Ideally, what was called men's fields, you know?
Sure.
And that begs the question of what is now gender roles in this current society. What necessarily should women and men do so that we know that actually this is somebody that is fulfilling their role in a society.
Okay.
Because talking of toxic masculinity, you've said very well that you don't know the extent to which it gets for it to be toxic.
Yeah.
And as a man, your manhood is enough to tell that you're masculine.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the great extent of maybe doing the extremes to portray your masculinity. So in terms of these gender roles in the current society, because we've done empowerment and both genders are empowered to an extent, what roles do you feel should continue to remain ascribed to one particular gender so as to let it not cross the path?
Okay. As I said, I have no problem with the empowerment when it comes to the corporate world, the political world, the economic world, everywhere else. But once we narrow down to the family, okay, a man or a woman, even a woman can be an engineer. Okay,
True.
A woman can be a driver. She can be a tout. Very good. But once we narrow down to the family, let us go back to the traditional family. If at all we want to have families, if at all we want to have a generation, because we might think whatever we are doing is something world praises today, but 200 years, 100 years from now, people will realize the rubbish and the harm that they did to the society. So once we go back to our families, let us remember, okay, I'm a woman and this is what is expected of me. I'm a man and this is what is expected of me. Even if you are a man and you are a waitress, or you are a waiter, or you are a chef where you work, you don't now have to come and you are already starting cooking and all that. Your wife might even wonder why I'm in this house if this man is always cooking. You know? So once you now come back to your family, remember, now I'm a man, this is how I should behave. I'm a woman, this is how I should behave. Because if at all we mix up, we will have our sons and daughters without the concept of who is a father, who is a mother. They think that you just become a father because you are a male, or you become a mother just because you are a woman. But we need to have those figures. The mother a figure, the father a figure. Yeah.
All right. We were trying to look at the ideal type of society so that we now get to look at the critical issues that we wanted to discuss. Because talking of femicide and this violence against women issues, it's something that we actually need to end it as of yesterday. Yeah. Because even speaking, it was yesterday that it was on the news. There's a alleged person that was a victim, a lady that is a victim of the husband. And I'm trying to look at what issues we now need to address so that we now end this issue without necessarily talking about it day in, day out. Because we're going to talk, but these people are continuing to do. If you look at the statistics, we have issues to do with cases in Eastleigh. We have issues to do with a case that is in Nakuru. And there are several others that have been published and those that have not been accounted for. Because you see, these statistics are always drawn from what is in the public domain. Those that have not been accounted for. I want us to look at the issues that need to be addressed. The reason why you're on set today is because you're one person that is very vocal. And the vocality is one issue we can use. Because that is why I was even asking you, have you done any publications in terms of advocating for this issue or creating awareness to this issue? And in as much as you talk to me about the issues to do with law is not enough. Law is not enough, and people are ignorant. They're ignorant in the sense that if they have the connection, like some of them argue, they will know that they can bypass the law. So what other issue do you think we need to address in that regard?
Okay, number one, I don't want to say women are nagging, but it is not away from it. And I'm not becoming toxic. But women must always understand it is not that every killing of a woman is femicide.
Okay.
It is not that if I'm driving today and I happen to hit a woman, unknowingly that is femicide, and now they are all over the road with the green leaves and
Placards.
Black placards. We must understand what femicide is. I'm killing you because you are a woman. I'm killing you because you are a woman. So it is not that like some women are business partners. They just believe because I'm a woman and I'm a woman and I'm weak, I should not be okay. They just betray you or they go against the terms. Then out of nowhere she's killed. Let us understand, even though people will come out and fight for you, they will fight for you when you are dead. The first thing that a woman can do, and every woman must do, if you are to prevent femicide, you must take a self-precaution.
Okay.
At a personal level. Before we even go to the law, to the security issues, to changing because when you go and have $1 million from a man, and there is what you agreed, and now you are trying to violate the terms, and you are very aware from day one what was happening. How can we protect you? So one must take a personal precaution. And number two, whether we are going to speak of security issues and law, we must change the perception of the society. That one I firmly agree on. Okay. Now the second thing that we must do as a society, we must change our perception, our views, our beliefs. Who is a woman? Okay? So because when you value something, you cannot just go joking around with it. And we must, value comes from perception. How do you perceive it? If you perceive your watch, you can't just go breaking your watch. So if we change our perception of women from just our subordinates, like we view them as something smaller to us, I think as men we can solve the issue of femicide. Okay. Yeah, we must change. Before we bring laws and security issues and all that and surveillance and investigation and then intelligence, we must change first the perception of the society on women.
Yeah, before we even go to the third one, there's this issue that has arisen. If you talk about empowerment, there's one thing that women don't get.
Yes.
You can be empowered to the extent that you're empowered like that man, but there's bridges when it comes to family, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's there's somebody that is still higher. You could be empowered, but there's somebody that is still higher. And that is something that people don't, that's why the issue of competition arises. And so, even as we talk about, the solutions that we're trying to give into this issue, how about the man? Why don't you talk to these men on how to live with this empowered woman? Why don't you talk to these men on how to provide the protection? Because you see, most of the cases, men are involved, and they're intimate partners. How about ideally, as the society portrays men to be, as the protectors and stuff, why don't we also empower these men on how to end this issue, or maybe be part of the solution? Do you think that is one of the issues that can be addressed?
I will tell you, Marvin, if your candle is off and my candle is on, and someone else's candle is off, for you to get light, you must come to me who have his candle on. And this is the situation we have. It is men who are already empowered. It is men who are in those high ranks. So it is men who are empowered, and it is men who empower women. It is not women who empower fellow women. That one we must all agree. Those women going up to PhD, some of them have their school fees paid by their men, by their husband. So I feel men don't have an issue with empowering their women and all that. It is feminists who misunderstand the issue of empowerment. We don't empower you to go and overthrow your man. We don't empower you so that you are becoming an ideal man, so to say. We are empowering you so that you can have an equal bargaining power with men out there, so that you can have equal education, so that if the job required someone who have a bachelor's degree, you also have a bachelor's degree, just as other men do. If the job wanted someone who is computer literate, you are also computer literate. So we are not making you to be better than a man or to be higher than a man. We are making you equally fit to struggle for what a man is struggling for. Okay, it is not an issue of competition. It is an issue of enhancement. It is an issue of improvement, and it is an issue of value addition. Yes.
Right. And what do you think men should do in that regard? Now that we're talking this on this issue of ending femicide, what role can they play with regards to trying to also help the women end this?
Okay, as men, one, even though we are empowering women, I think we must always sing this song until it sings. You are not becoming a man because you are empowered. You are becoming an empowered woman. And an empowered woman is not a man.
Okay.
We must sing this song until it sings to the center of their brains. And number two, for men who feel the threat, as I said, the threat of empowerment or of women empowerment, we must help them resolve so that they are not going to go to the violent way. Yeah.
Okay. I think that is a very strong point. Yes. We need that inclusion of men, because if you're going to talk about the perpetrators of some of these issues, ideally we should also include them in the solutions.
Yes.
Speaking of which, I don't want to bring the issue of gender-based violence right now. You are to go on your third point. You've talked about including men. I think the first one was
personal.
It should be a personal initiative as women to go out there and be the solution in the first place. Take that precaution.
Yes.
Let me listen to your third point, and then I bring this issue of gender-based violence, and then we see how we can wrap it up with the solutions that we can offer. Because I don't just as to speak about it, and then at the end of the day we've just spoken, but no action has been taken.
Sure.
Yes. Would you kindly, if there was a third one?
Okay. For femicide to happen, or for a man to kill a woman, it doesn't just happen like I wake up and I meet you and say you are a woman, I should kill you. There is some other unfactored factors that factor in that situation. What are these factors? This is a big issue that we are ignoring as a nation, and women and people speaking about GBV don't want to listen to that. Like, okay, if femicide was all about killing someone because she's a woman, I would have killed about 100 today because I have met more than 100 women. But why not Lady X, but Lady Y? Even if we are in an intimate relationship, what transpired, because it means it is not about intimacy only. There must be something else that just came up, and maybe we didn't resolve it amicably. So where are these other factors? We have things like economic factors. We have mental health for men. Okay? We have things like unfaithfulness. We have things like there is this how can I put it? The societal perception of how a man or a woman should behave and all that. So I feel we have other factors that we have to look into so that we can understand the issue of femicide. There is what we know is less than 50% of what is happening in femicide.
Sure.
Yeah, because I don't believe it is an issue of waking up. You just look at your wife and realize she's a woman and you kill her.
Truly speaking, you see, I even looked at the case, and I don't know whether this information is right, but I was trying to dig in and see what was the issue, because ideally it was just brought to us and we portrayed that as wrong.
Yes.
I looked into the issue of Issy Lee, the lady, the 3 women that were killed, and it was an issue to do with, I don't know, the partner that lives abroad, because this lady was married to somebody that used to stay abroad, and abroad he had another wife. So the wife had traveled back to the country and found out about this lady, and allegedly it is assumed that it is this lady that had planned all of this killing through somebody that knows this lady. So what you're saying is very true. We need to look at the root cause, what actually exists and what actually is the issue in that particular situation, because we can't go around talking about femicide because a woman has just been killed.
Sure.
A lot of women get killed, but not most, not all of the cases are femicide.
Femicide.
And speaking of which, I think you agree with me. Murder is wrong in all cases.
Yeah, in any case.
And this is an issue that the government needs to take action. We don't necessarily have to look into the laws that have been placed, because ideally speaking, we know what happens in this country. We are going to talk about laws, but like they say, somebody that is well connected is going to bypass the law.
You can be bent.
talking of gender-based violence, I am going to revolve around this issue until we get to have a solution. Even as much as you're listening to us, don't be a victim of this. Don't be a perpetrator of this issue. All we're trying to do is champion for this idea to be something that we get to our past. Speaking of which, I'm bringing the issue of gender-based violence right now. And I know, as a man, and as the man that I know, you're not one person that would be of this idea.
Yeah, of course.
To be in our society. This is not the society that you want to bring up as an individual. Why is still gender-based violence in our current society?
In our current society. Gender-based violence, okay, between what we have as gender-based violence and what is perceived as gender-based violence in our society are two different things.
Talk to me about that.
You know why? If we happen to have a woman who have stolen people's origins in Njokeri and men happen to stone her, women will still say this is gender-based. Okay? If I'm a man and I'm invigilating a cat and I happen to find you cheating and I just grab your phone and say, hey, no, this is gender-based violence. We must always look at the intention of gender-based violence. Okay, like of the action before we label it gender-based violence. Number two, there is this presumption like gender-based violence is only to women, and that is a lie. You can also have gender-based violence towards men. Because when you start roasting a certain man, you don't have beard, you know, if you are a man beat me, that is violence already. That is gender-based violence, not only to women. Number three, women always want to blame gender-based violence to men when it goes to women. Women also perpetrate gender-based violence to their fellow women. And I can tell you, in most cases, it is women who initiate. When your mother-in-law incites your husband to beat you, then your mother-in-law is the source of the gender-based violence. So it is women who first should go to a circle and speak within themselves so that they can resolve the issue of gender-based violence to women. It usually emanates. The aim of, okay, if you go to the root cause, is a fellow woman. And lastly, it is not it is not every violence to a woman is gender-based. We have other identities. You know, gender is a social identity. You have your ethnic identity. You have your professional identity. Like I have an identity as an Egerton student. Creative student from Kabarak University and Egerton University are fighting. And I happen to slap a lady from Kabarak University. Will you still say that is gender-based? Okay? So it is not, that's why I said between what is gender-based and what is perceived as gender-based, they are two different things. Now, let us narrow down to gender-based. How can we resolve the issue of gender-based violence? Number one, as Africans, I feel we have overstressed the issue of gender. I feel gender should take less than 5% of your life. It is not like what you are eating because of your gender. You are studying what because of your gender. You are sitting the way you are seated because of your gender. Like gender should take a very small portion of our lives, and we should focus on other things. And with that, when I meet a lady, I will see her as a fellow classmate. I will see her as a Kenyan. I will see her, okay, from other identities and not just a woman. And if we stop overstressing all this, if I'm married to my wife, I will see her as my wife, as the mother to my kids, as a partner, a companion. You know, some families, we have the husband and wife as business partners. If we stop stressing on this issue of gender and we start viewing each other from other lenses, I will stop seeing you as a man, but I will see Marvin as a psychologist, as a what, as a professional. You know, I feel we can resolve much of this gender-based violence.
But do you think that is a direction that we are yet even to discover as a generation?
As a generation, okay. When change comes, it emanates from a few. Okay, and now it is the work of the few who have seen the light to propagate the issue until people believe. I can give you, okay, people feel sometimes as if change is impossible. But do you believe Europeans came to Africa, people who never had an idea of what Christianity is, they preached until today now we have Christians, like I can even wake up today and start my own church in Lokevio. Because they preached until we perceived it. So it is very possible for us to go and preach this thing and tell people. Despite being a woman, we have other things. You know, in African society, we didn't have other identities. People are not going to school, so you didn't have an identity you didn't have a professional identity. We didn't have Kenya, we didn't have country, so you didn't have your nationality. You didn't have, some Kikus where they were living, they didn't even know that they had other tribes. So you didn't have that ethnicity, identity. Like, so the only thing that we are different is you are a man and I'm a woman. So it took almost 95% of their identity. But now we have other things to identify ourselves with. You don't have to say I'm a man. You can say I'm a linguist, I'm a student, I'm a professional, I'm this, and this. Man should be something very neatly in your life.
I love that point. It's very strong. And in as much as you're also saying it's possible, but you know the truth. In as much as that change can be initiated by a few, it's a direction that if we take, yes, true, 100 years from now, it'll be it will have good results in that regard. But how easy is it, and why can't we just partake it? Who are these few individuals that we should now bring on board? Because if you're going to have it as a collective responsibility, nobody's going to be accountable. You know that. Nobody's going to be accountable that now this is the direction we want to drive. And that is why we're also on set. We want to create a public awareness so that everybody gets on board. It's not an issue of me and you talking about it. And it should be an issue that, in as much as we're also talking about a collective responsibility, it is a collective responsibility to self. Because ideally speaking, this is not the kind of generation or maybe lifestyle that I would want for my children to have in the near future. This is not the type of life that I would want for them, or maybe you would want for your kids 20 years to come. And if you're going to talk about this kind of responsibility, you've said it's easy, and it's something that we can partake as a society. What areas of this society should we now focus on initiating this change?
Okay, I'll tell you, Marvin, everybody, including you, you are a potential candidate to perpetrate gender-based violence or to be a victim of gender-based violence. So nobody should be left out in this vehicle of preaching against gender-based violence. You can be a direct victim or you can be a consequential. Maybe somebody was affected and now the effect is coming to you. So I feel, one, everybody we should have this sermon preached to everyone. If everyone got this information, and now these days we have a lot of channels. For example, from where we sit, more than 1 million people can see and listen to what we are speaking. So Kenya, which has around 57 million Kenyans, if we were to preach it to them and everybody consumed that information, after 1 week we wouldn't have gender-based violence. It is not something for 1,000 years to come. It is all about telling people this is what should be done. And once they accept and conceive the information, okay, what if everybody in Kenya says, I will not be a perpetrator of gender-based violence today? Will we have gender-based violence tomorrow? So it is all about we accepting, conceiving this information, everyone, accepting that this is what we should, it is a bitter medicine that we have to take it for us to get healed.
Nice. I think you're making me even learn of things that I didn't even have in mind, but it's true. It is something that we really need to. The strongest message you've given me is accept, because ideally we can be told to do it, but we haven't accepted as a country, as an individual, as a people, as a nation. So maybe one message that you have, or maybe two, because ideally speaking, we wanted to introduce this idea, this concept, and discuss about it and see how we can make the change. Speaking of which, I didn't want us to just talk about it and not have action. I think from that we are going to initiate a campaign that will also help in helping these people to accept this whole idea. So if you have any message to our audience, because I know you're somebody that people listen to and they would also want to hear your message to them.
My message to you to whoever is listening to us, and especially to ladies, to start with. Femicide, anybody can be a victim of femicide, and you are just an inch away from death through femicide. But you can prevent that by taking a personal precaution. Before the law takes its course, before the government comes in, before feminists go for campaigns, you have a personal responsibility. And once you do that, I'm not saying that it will not come to you, but you will have, in a way, prevented yourself from being a victim of the same. Number 2, Kenyans on social media. Social media is good and can give information, but we must stop this issue of making memes from everything. There is some issues. Okay, I might be going through a lot, but the roasting that is in WhatsApp and Facebook and Twitter makes me even feel discouraged from sharing. So as a people, sometimes I feel let us know what to share and what to make fun of. There is issues that we must stop. Okay, I know this was not part of the podcast, but I can point out. For example, we are advancing in the medical field when it comes to things like HIV and AIDS. But do you know social media is acting as a great tool for stigmatization?
Sure.
Like people living with HIV and AIDS are always like you are posting rubbish on your status and you don't know who view. You don't know the status of everyone who view your status. So social media is being misused by kids, and the memes and the roasting that we are doing, we are psychologically affecting a lot of people.
And do you feel like we should have a regulation of the social media on what people post? And
we should have a strict regulation of what people, and we should even have penalties. Because, for example, a woman was killed. You are taking photos of her naked with blood everywhere, and you are sharing everywhere in social media.
Making funny comments.
Okay, making funny comments and saying she deserved to die. You know, that is not the way we should go. It is absolutely wrong. I know many people may not sit well with my opinion, but that is the truth. We must use social. Okay, if you are using social media to give people a precaution and tell them femicide is bad, kudos, you are doing a great thing using social media. But if you are using social media to share and say women should die, roasting women, saying, giving stories of, that this woman was like this before she was killed, she deserved it. No, you are really hurting us, and I don't believe that is the way we should go.
And I think the same thing also applies to issues to do with mental health. Because ideally, if you look at the African countries, I actually, before we came for this set, we were from an event, and one question I asked is that how many people are willing to raise their hand to say that they have been depressed before. I think it was a handful. It was around 5 people that raised their hand in a tent full of 50 people. And so I was looking at that and trying to also relate it to the social media context. Ideally speaking, if somebody goes to the internet and say that I have this disorder, they are going to get some sort of response. And that is where you see most people, this stigma, this stereotype that has been on social media, people don't want to talk about it. Somebody doesn't want to open up. If you look at the European countries, ideally speaking, when somebody has been diagnosed by a disorder, even where they live, if it is a story building, all of those people are informed that this person at this room has been diagnosed with this disorder, and this is what you're supposed to do in case this happens. Because sometimes they have episodes. Somebody has, let's say, a bipolar diagnosis. They do have their episodes, and this is how they react. So these people are informed on how they are supposed to deal with this person in case this happens. If you look at the social networks that they have, like how they operate in their social media, it's different from how we do it. And this is something that also contributes to the stigma that these people have. And so ideally speaking, whatever you mentioned is a very strong point, and I think people need to listen to this. It's true, not many people are going to agree with this, and not many people are going to have this opinion seated well with them, and they might even respond to this. But speaking of which, this is something that you need to also recognize. It is not something we are asking apologetically. It is something that you need to know, and that is the direction we need to take. Otherwise, I want to appreciate the fact that you've been on set and have shared your ideas. I don't know, there's something you feel, is there something that you feel like has not been mentioned that you also want to have it on table so that we discuss it?
Okay. maybe I can say this. I can just say this. Let us not think femicide is an issue that is affecting people in Nairobi, in Nakuru, and I'm now seated here. Femicide, anyone. And as I said, you are an inch away from femicide. So don't celebrate, don't make memes, don't roast people on social media. You can be the next one. So take precaution and don't, and I plead, don't roast anyone. Don't make those funny memes with anybody. Or imagine your sister was killed, Marvin, just for an example. Then you just see someone making fun of it in social media.
It's painful.
It's painful. Let us learn how we are. You can also be a victim. And I say, you might not be the direct victim. But even you have sisters, you have mothers, you have cousins who can be killed.
Even your friends.
So let us take precautions and Kenyans, and let us take it as a social responsibility. Let us not say just rubbish so that you can get likes and follows because you said something silly about somebody who was killed. We have to take care of that.
Thank you so much. That was a very strong point. And even as we conclude, if in any case you want people to get in touch with you, because I actually appreciate the work that you're doing. I was actually telling my producer and director here that you do a lot of publications. And it would be good that we also raise ourselves together. You see what you're doing, what we're doing is something that we can work collectively and also get to help each other. If you're available on socials or maybe what you do, tell us and tell the audience what you do. Okay, I'm an author. I have published a book. I publish opinion articles in the Star, the Standard, in Daily Nation. I also have my social media platforms at Ayub Juguna. Ayub Juguna tweet X, that is Ayub Juguna 1. Instagram. I think we'll have them posted.
Ayub Juguna in Facebook, very active. And I have my WhatsApp number. From the social media account, you can have my WhatsApp number. I'm always available for talks. And in case you have an idea that you want us to put out there for people to see and for people to discuss, you can always reach out. Because information is better when shared.
Thank you so much. You keep doing what you're doing. I think it's a great work, and you're creating an impact. And we hope to see you at the top. That is how politicians talk.
Okay, I'm not a politician, but I believe I'm a professional. And I'm a campaigner of several things: environment, environmental justice, anti-gender-based violence campaigns, and all that. But I'm not a politician, but I'm a leader. I'm a manager. That is how they also talk.
Anyway, thank you so much for being on set. That was it, guys. It was a nice episode with Ayub here. And our message has been out there. We are campaigning towards ending femicide. And like he has said, I think you've heard the message. I would want to stop there and see you on the next episode.